In this game we talk about Pizzeria, Italia. I was in Italy last weekend for a conference and I picked up a couple of games, including this one. This is from an Italian publisher and the rules are in Italia only. But the rules are very simple, I can definitely cover them all in this video, and the components are language neutral. So I thought, if I explain the game to you in the video and you think you like it, you can still order it, purchase it, and play it even if you don't speak Italian. And this is a game about making pizza, a theme that everybody likes. I can tell you already that this is primarily a game to play with children, or in any case a family game. I played it with children only, well, in which I was the only adult, with a mix of children and adults, and also with adults only. And children enjoyed it a lot, and also parents playing it with children. When I played it only with adults, it worked a little less well. But again, it's a game about making pizza, and making a particular long pizza, the kind of pizza that then you will buy by the slice. You're like, hey, give me a foot of that pizza, give me the part with the cheese and the mushroom. So you're gonna make a long pizza with as many ingredients as you can, and that scores you points. These are the rules of the game, only in Italian, but again, very simple. There is a way here that they suggest to set up each hand, which I find a little convoluted, so I'm gonna explain the game based on my way of setting up the game, which works equally well and simplifies things. You have these nice slices of pizza here that are made of eraser type rubber, and they're used to to keep score. Basically, you will play the game in different hands. At the end of each hand, one player will score, will win the hand, and that player gets a slice of pizza, places in their play area. The first player to acquire 2 is the winner of the game. Very nice components. Again, it could be done with wooden cubes, but hey, it feels very thematic, and again, kids love to see that. As for the game itself, it revolves around this deck of cards here that represent different frames of crust and also different combinations of ingredients. A card may have a single ingredient, like here we have cheese twice, may have 2 ingredients like onions and green peppers, or cheese and salami. A card may also have an edge, so this is the end of your pizza, so when you will be using cards, as you can imagine, place them in a line to form your pizza, well, this is where it ends. You cannot add next to it in that direction. We also have another ingredient, which is quote-unquote a neutral ingredient, which is mozzarella, that goes with everything. And you also have cards that are pure mozzarella, and they go with everything. What does it mean to go or not to go? It means that when you're forming your pizza, you need to place ingredients next to each other, domino style. As you will see, this is a little bit of there's a little bit of sushi go in that you reserve game components, and there's a memory element, but luckily enough it's not memory. There's sushi go, memory, and domino, and a little bit of dexterity. What? We'll see. So basically you have your deck of cards, you shuffle them, and then you give each player 2 cards. The players look at their 2 cards. Oh, splendid. These are terrible. Very bad to begin. You'll see why. You look at those the 2 cards that you're given secretly, and then you place them in front of you, one on top of the other, slightly offset from one another, so that you see how many you have. But it is important that you know which one is at the bottom and which one is on top, because then you will get new cards and you will place them face down here, continuing the same direction. Basically, you can add only one direction, and you cannot change the order of the cards as you are acquiring new cards. So each player receives their initial 2 cards, so they look at them, they put them face down, and another important thing, the cards that you place face down in your play area, you have to remember, you cannot look at them until the phase after people have collected the ingredients in which they will be actually making their pizza. So during your turn, what you do, when it is your turn, you simply select one of the 3 cards available in the central area, and you add it to your pile. And that's it. Then the next player goes and maybe selects this card, and we replenish. Then it's my turn again, suppose, and I choose one of these cards, and I decide to choose this one. And then it's my turn again, and I choose this one. Basically, players will keep adding will keep adding to their ingredients until they have 6. Again, it's very important to remember what you have. When everybody has exactly 6 cards, we get to the final phase of the hand in which players actually prepare their pizza. Everybody at a convene signal flips their cards face up and they start frantically working on them to form the longest pizza that they can. Right now I'm already taking way too much time. But again, this is a feature example with cards that I picked up randomly. By now in the real game somebody would have said pizza! So basically when somebody thinks that they have the best pizza they can have, they say pizza, and everybody has to stop right there with what they have. And you don't have to use all of your cards. At that point, everybody scores whatever they have. Chances are, again, that the person that says pizza will win because they get a good sense of what they have. They know it's strong, but not necessarily. I've seen some surprises occurring in that phase. Now you look at the components here, the icons. A single icon without any numerical value is worth 1 point. And then you have these cards that have this multiplier. It's kind of confusing. It should be just a plus. Basically this means +3. It doesn't mean whatever else times 3. So basically this card is worth 4 points. 1 because of this one and 3 because of that one. So 4th point. This card here is worth 2 points, this card is worth 2 points, and this card is worth 2 points. If I had been able to also add this card here to my pizza, this would be worth 3 points, 1 plus 2. Each card that you had taken in the previous phase and you're not using is 1 point of penalty. So my score for my pizza here is, however, is the total of these icons minus 2. We check and see who has the highest total, and that player scores the hand and gets a slice of pizza. That means, when I said at the beginning, bad cards, when you had 2 cards that don't go together, because a very good way of opening your hand is if at the beginning of the hand, when you're setting up, you receive 2 cards that go with one another. Then basically you can choose which side you want to build. And suppose that I want to build green pepper. So I place these 2 cards here, like this. And I know that I'm acquiring cards and I'm placing them on this side. Remember, you cannot change the order while you're acquiring ingredients. And so I'm just remembering I need green peppers. And suppose that these are the cards that are there. Then when it's my turn, I take this one and I remember, well, I need onions now. And suppose that when it's my turn, the onions are available there. So in general, it can be very valuable, very easy that way. You can just go on autopilot under several conditions, of course. You only have to remember the next ingredient that you want. But you need to have 2 cards that match at the beginning. And if you don't, then you have to remember what they have, and maybe you try to find an ingredient that forms a bridge, but then you have to remember, wait a second, but then which one will be on the edges, which one can I build upon? Also, there may be cards with a lot of valuable ingredients, and the ingredient that you have there is always just a silly 2-point card, and you see the ingredients there with more points, and so you may try to figure out ways of scoring more points, get the more valuable cards, although you know that when it's time to build your pizza, you will have to shuffle things around. But if you go with this simple strategy of remembering what's available next, you can basically, and you're able to do it because of the order. Again, there's also the case where there simply isn't the symbol you're looking for available there. But if you're lucky, you go for that strategy, you don't want to be fancy, it is possible to build your pizza as you go. And so when it's time to build it, all you need to do is simply to show that you have it right, and if you didn't make any mistakes, well, good for you, you have a pretty strong pizza. For example, there's a good example of a pizza that was easy to build, but it doesn't have a lot of big numbers because it's all simple cards. If you're playing with a large number of people, say 5 or 6 people, the game goes up to 6, chances are that somebody will try to pull up the strategy every round, and chances are that they will be able to do it. So that may be a little bit of a problem. With fewer players, and well, then you have players that may approach things differently, may not be able to do it, and then the phase when everybody's scrambling to prepare the pizza is much more exciting. Also, an important thing, if you did make a mistake when you were building your pizza, then your pizza is worth 0. You cannot possibly win. You play like this through several hands until a player has acquired 2 slices of pizza, and at that point the winner is the player that has 2 slices of pizza is the winner of the game. So this is the game. It's very simple, as you can see. Again, possibly too light for some, but I found it very enjoyable to play with children because they get the idea. It's very simple, and for them it is challenging. Okay, I need to remember green peppers and eggs, and of course after 10 seconds the game goes back to them. I was like, wait a second, was it cheese and salami? And I shouldn't make fun of children because sometimes that happens to me too. When at the beginning I get 2 cards that don't match, and I'm maybe like not paying super attention, I'm chat a little bit, by then I don't remember exactly what I have and what I was trying to achieve. Of course, if they don't match, you have a lot of ingredients here, almost everything goes, but then if I'm not placing them in the right order, well, again, that's gonna be a lot of work to match them at the end. So there are a couple of interesting things here. Super light, mind you, super light. But you just remember what you have, try to get your sequence as close as possible to what you want it to be as you're preparing for the making of the pizza phase, but at the same time you may decide to take a little bit of a chance and maybe you have to switch 2 cards because that allows you to score more points. For example, the end of the pizza slice, the end of the pizza card is worth 4 points, but of course if you get it in the middle there, then you know that you will have, when you are making your pizza, you will have to change things around. So I like the fact that there is a phase which is pretty more contemplative, as players are trying to remember what they have, what they're trying to do. They're forming an image in their mind. For kids it's challenging, but you see they're really, really proud when they manage to picture a pizza in their mind and then actually make it with the right ingredients. So that's that phase, which is about very simple planning, a little bit of memory, very simple picturing things in your mind. And then it's followed by a frantic phase, which is pretty exciting, where everybody goes at the same time and they're racing against the clock, and you're just starting and somebody says, pizza, and you're like, what, how is that possible? Or you're doing that, it's like, that's so strange, no one has done it yet. Would I be able to risk and chance it and moving things around? And then of course, again, somebody yells pizza when you don't expect it. That is very simple, but it has that little bit of adrenaline, that little bit of fun that comes from playing in real time and going as fast as possible, and you do not know what the opponents have. That makes it fun. Again, children loved it, and the theme is so easy to connect to. Families, in the sense children and adults, liked it too. And I don't know, I get the sense that it wasn't like, well, my children's having fun, so I'm tolerating it. The other parents I played it with also enjoyed it. But then I also played it with more hardcore gamers. It was at the end of a very long night. Everyone was exhausted, and I thought maybe this can be a nice change of pace. And some enjoyed it, some were like, I don't know, it seems too simple, too basic. Which, as every filler, it could be. One advantage really is that it is a little bit of a filler, it's super simple, but you can play it with a high number of players, such as 6, and it doesn't really significantly increase the length of the game, because each turn really, when you're preparing the pizza, each turn is like, get the card, I get this card, next player gets their 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 card. So having 4 instead of 6, or 5 instead of 3 doesn't really change anything. The following phase is simultaneous. So it has that advantage. It's a filler that you can play with up to 6 players, and it does not become in any way significantly longer. So not for everybody, not for every situation, but it has a couple of interesting ideas here, and it's fun with the right group in the right situation, especially if you have children. Pizzeria Italia, it's a fun theme and definitely a light game, but one that I personally enjoyed.